truly cannot compare. You're an angel just so rare. You light up all of my life. The clouds clear all the rain away. And I pray that you will stay, and I'll always be true. There's no one really quite like you. You're something special.
Okay, everybody, thanks for being here. Want to introduce the owner of AdHitProfits, Charles Scoville, has called this webinar at the last minute, which is amazing, the communication that he wants to have with all of us members. And we have 65 here right now. That means we have a very good support for our business. So Charles, I'll hand it to you at this time. It's all yours. Take the floor.
All right, can everybody hear me? I got this headset to hopefully make it so that my sound is a little bit better than maybe it might have been in the past. So cool to see all those yeses. And by the way, I just want to say that today has been really a great day in the terms of all of the support and the love that people have been sharing with me, how they feel about the program, how they feel about me. And I just want to say thank you to all of your messages, all of your support, because AdHitProfits really is something that means a lot to me, and I know that it means a lot to a lot of you as well. What I'm wanting just to share with you tonight is a few different things, actually. First, I want to address exactly what's going on with AdHitProfits so that I can clear the air, so you can hear my voice, and so you can know for yourself the sincerity that what's going on is absolutely true. I also want to address some questions that some people have asked me about AdHitProfits and help make sure to get that information out to you. Now, just again, kind of back to what I was just saying a minute ago about the kind of support that we've been getting today. You know, right now we've got 8,746 paid members. Now, with something like this happening today, we could have had an explosion of support tickets, but I actually only had about 4. And none of them were about what's going on because of the support that sponsors and leaders have had in getting their information out to the Facebook groups, their teams, all the way down. And the other support, and these support tickets that were raised were about like resetting a security pin, or maybe asking how do I withdraw, something like that. So I mean, this is amazing, the kind of support that has been coming out to make sure that everyone is aware of what's going on. So to answer the question that people have been wondering, what is going on? It's exactly how it's stated on the page within the members area that you've probably no doubt read today. And if any of you were online last night at 1 o'clock in the morning Eastern time, you would have seen that it was hard to get onto the site. It was very hard. And people were logging in and getting kicked out, trying to view ads, and the ads weren't viewing, because what was going on was there was a huge load of traffic, more huge than what we've ever had before. And if you've been taking a look at the Alexa traffic ranking and seeing the kind of traffic that's been coming to our website, for us to exceed anything that we've ever had before is already phenomenal. And I checked with my host, and I was double-checking and double-checking, rechecking, is that there wasn't any kind of DOS attack. There was not any kind of anything that was any attack with that traffic. It was absolutely real amount of interest that was coming to our website to check it out, which I think is just phenomenal to see that kind of huge amount of interest in AdHitProfits. Now, when that large amount of traffic was going on, the server itself was handling everything perfectly fine. And what was going on the script side, on the actual website side, the script and the database, is it just couldn't handle it, because what was going on is what we have built in within the script are a few different protocols that, for one, captures people's IP addresses as they log in. And that's for security purposes, as some of you know, is that when you're logging in, it's going to capture what your IP address is to make sure that you are you. And if somebody else logs into your account from a different IP address, then you're going to get an email saying, hey, can you please confirm where you're logging in from? So with that being said, that was actually one of the big processes that was being overloaded, was the capturing of hundreds of thousands of IP addresses within a very short amount of time, and storing it in our database. So there's ways to provision the database and the script that makes things easier to process those things. And my programmer, he's actually offline for the weekend, so that's one of the things that was actually causing the problem. Now, when we were seeing such high amounts of traffic coming through, what happened was there was a process that you all know of. Every 30 minutes processes the distribution of shares to every single member. And what happened with that is at 1 o'clock, and I can see this as I'm looking at the shares in the back office, I can go in and see, I can check the shares, which ones have been processed for today's date, and I'll just, so I can read that exact amount for you right now, is 1 through 8 processed just fine, and that was up until 59, so 12:59 in the morning. At 1 o'clock, that next purchase that was processed was not handled. It was not sent through. We've since had now up to 535 new payments enter into the system from purchases and repurchases, and we have not been able to distribute any of those because this process that's built in is actually a cron job that somehow got off track. And I was talking with the host and trying to get it so that it could just be pushed through and make sure that it starts processing. And they said it should start processing automatically for you, no problem. And so I was, okay, this is going to be fine. Well, the next 30 minutes came and it didn't process. So I was speaking with them more, what's going on? And they were looking at it and they said, well, let's process it manually. So they processed it manually and they saw this error code. And the error basically is indication to the host side, you got to have your programmer tweak something inside of that script so that it can push through. Well, my programmer, he takes weekends off. He is a family man. He's a very good programmer. He's very good at what he does, and you can see that through his handiwork throughout the site. And what he's actually working on right now is a project of building in a forum that will be available, built into AdHitProfits, coming probably this upcoming week. So that's just some news to let you guys know that there's plans of advancing and making this even better. So this forum that he's working on, he's taken the weekend off. I have not been able to reach him all day. And I'm also recognizing that Sunday he might not want to work either. And I'm going to be talking with him now going forward to say, hey, there's got to be a way in case of an emergency that I can reach you better, because I usually just reach him either on Skype or via email. I've got 2 different email addresses for him. I have a buddy of his that I'm also friends with that I, in times past, if I've needed him, then he can page his phone. But I've not been able to reach either one of them all day today. So what people are seeing is that their earning balance is not increasing unless you're pulling in some referral commissions. Those are handled just as instantly regular, and there's not been any delays in payouts today whatsoever. There's none whatsoever that are pending right now. So if you've requested payment today, you can vouch for that there's no problems whatsoever there. It's just this process that's built in to process and handle all of the different payments that are coming in and distribute them every 30 minutes. So that's what we're looking at right now, is getting that corrected, getting that process turned back on. And there's actually a list of these shares, like I said, that show processed, and then it just stops right at 1 o'clock in the morning, where it just says that they're not processing. So that's what's going on today, and that's kind of what you saw when you logged in, is there's this process that's just stuck. Now before I move in That's right, Nina. Absolutely. There's a lot of payments coming in, and I'll tell you that I know that there's some of you who might be a little bit concerned or maybe worried or wondering, is this the end of AdHitProfits and all of that? And I can totally respect that, because I know that there's a lot of programs out there that give you a lot of different excuses. There's a lot of programs that are crashing, failing, not paying, whatever the problem might be. And that is really good to hear, Shabir. And that's one of the things I really like about AdHitProfits and how it works. And that actually kind of leads into some questions that I want to help answer and clarify for people that are maybe looking at this who haven't joined yet, where maybe you're involved and you're trying to answer some questions to some of your referrals that you're wanting to get in. And you're faced with this question, is this a Ponzi or anything like that? Now, before I get into those types of questions, I want to find out if there's any questions about what's going on today with AdHitProfits that might be raising any concern. I want to address any kind of questions and get those settled before I move on to some other topics. And you're absolutely right. With the news with Liberty Reserve crashing, all I can say is I am so grateful that I dropped Liberty Reserve about 2 weeks ago. Because had we left member funds in Liberty Reserve, there would have been probably some problems with AdHitProfits. And I'm just so glad that I drop kicked them long ago, because now there's no worry and it's not going to affect AdHitProfits whatsoever. And hopefully, with Liberty Reserve crashing like that, that's probably going to cause quite an impact on a lot of other programs out there, a lot of high yield investment plans, a lot of those types of things. And this is now a perfect and great opportunity to get people involved in something that's stable, something that's not going to disappear or drop down because of any kind of instability whatsoever. Thank you very much for all of your support. And I'm seeing that even in this room with your comments. So thank you so much for your kindness, your patience, your understanding, and recognizing that this is the weekend and sometimes there can be problems. And just to kind of relate with you something from my past is I actually used to work for T-Mobile customer service years ago. And as luck would have it, our whole phone system went down. And it's kind of funny because you can kind of think, well, T-Mobile, it's a phone company. Their whole phone system in the call center went down. And we couldn't answer any phone calls. No phone calls were coming through to our desks. No phone calls were even coming through at all. And they had to go into the system and create a message saying, we're having a problem with our system. Please call back later. We were sitting around waiting, and the official word was, we're not going to be able to get this up before you guys are done with your shift. So everyone, please go home. So that's exactly what's been going on with AdHitProfits, is we bumped into a glitch. And we're getting it resolved. It's going to be fixed. And all of the payments that have been coming through, they are coming through. And they are being tracked. They just haven't been distributed. And when this comes back and we get the programmer to fix that little glitch, then we'll see, as some of you have been mentioning, that you're going to see that spike all of a sudden coming to the account, because it's going to be all of those payments coming through all at once. Now, somebody was asking, can I reach the programmer faster? I have been trying every method that I have, and I know that he's very focused on his family on the weekends, and I totally respect that, because on Saturdays and Sundays that's his sacred time with his family, and it's very difficult to reach him on those days, which I can't blame him. That's just how he is. And when he gets online, it'll be about, I'm guessing, if he doesn't get online by in the next 5 or 6 hours, then we're looking at probably seeing that this is probably not going to be fixed until about 24 hours from now, which means Sunday night here for me around 10 o'clock, or depending on where you are in the world, that would probably be around midnight Eastern time, if that kind of gives you any idea. And so get ready for that bigger jump. And so to tell you a little bit more about that forum that's being built in, it is going to be something that is going to add additional support as people want to maybe discuss what's going on in the program. It can help me be able to keep a pulse on what concerns people have and make sure that I address them easier. And it can help me keep a pulse on what people want, because I'm going to be having inside of the forum a topic area of suggestions, of ideas that people might have to make this program better. That's one of the things I've actually really enjoyed hearing from members, is that they've actually made AdHitProfits their opportunity. This is their program. And a lot of the improvements and innovations that have been built into AdHitProfits have actually come from members. And so I've been really grateful for all of the people that have shared their ideas, their visions of and making AdHitProfits better, because that's what makes it so good, is you guys. Everything that has made AdHitProfits work out so well for each and every one of you individually has come because of the support and because of the membership throughout this. I put together a little bit of a machine, kind of, so to speak. I paid a programmer to build this idea, this vision that I had, but you guys have taken it and ran with it, and thank you so much for that. So now what I want to do is kind of shift gears a little bit, because we've really covered all of the information with what's going on today, and it looks like there's not really any questions that people have about it. And if you have any questions, I am on Skype, and I'll post my Skype username in here. If you want to ask questions, then I'll definitely make sure that I get back to you as soon as possible. So as far as then now moving on, one of our sponsors has kind of been bouncing around with some team members out there and asking people, what questions and what concerns do you have about AdHitProfits, of what keeps you from maybe getting involved, or maybe now that you're involved, what questions do you have about the longevity? Because I think that when people find something that's really great, the next question they have is, but how long is it going to stay this great? And that's my goal, is to make sure that this opportunity stays online for years to come. And that's one of the reasons why we're even building in a forum, because I really believe that adds additional strength and longevity to the program itself. And it also adds additional exposure to the advertising that's being purchased on the website. And also, with that forum being built in, there's going to be the ability that people can purchase placing a new topic. So if there's a new program launch, then they can just purchase and have it be displayed to all of the people that are in that forum, and people who maybe are just visiting the website. Because that's one of the things about a forum, is not only is it going to be available to the people inside the members area, but also for outside traffic as well, the outside visitors. So let me go ahead and just pull up the questions here that I was forwarded. Okay. So the first question is, people jump to the conclusion that the business is just yet another Ponzi pyramid scheme. What's the catch? Well, there's really no catch here. I would say that with this, to understand how to answer this question, first of all, we need to understand what a Ponzi is. What a Ponzi is any kind of situation where you've got someone who's giving you interest on an investment and using new investors' money to pay for the interest of the investments that are already in the system. So generally, and this is just generally speaking, any program out there that offers a percentage daily is more than likely a Ponzi scheme out there, because what they're offering you is an increase daily, or an I just lost the word. It's the it's an increase daily, and that percentage, they're actually covering that increase daily from the new payments coming in. Now, the great thing about AdHitProfits is that we are selling advertising service. And this service, those who have tested it have been amazed at the amount of views their banners have had, for one, the amount of clicks their banners have had, as well as with the directory listings people have been using. As they've been using like lead capture pages, some have tracked over 4% opt-in rates when it comes to the amount of traffic that are coming through their opt-in, their lead capture page. So what's actually being sold here at AdHitProfits is real advertising service that actually is of great quality, that if you are using Safeless or traffic exchanges or solo ad services elsewhere and you're tracking your results elsewhere, those who have actually compared the services with AdHitProfits have actually seen increased results and beyond normal results here at AdHitProfits. So knowing that our results are being delivered for advertisers gives me confidence in selling advertising service to new companies out there. So as I see new programs sprouting up and I contact their support, I feel very confident that what I'm offering for them to purchase is not something that's just going to drain them of money, but it's actually going to be something that's going to benefit their business. It's going to benefit AdHitProfits as well, as I disperse all of that revenue with everybody. And so I just kind of look at that and say that's where this is not a Ponzi whatsoever, because the money that's coming into the system comes in first, then goes to member accounts. And that's why there's no delays in payouts, is because you're actually receiving an amount of money that's actually coming in. I'm not putting numbers on your account and trying to keep up with it like a Ponzi, but this is actually giving you a part of everything that comes in, and then with your positions that you're buying, then you get up to the $56.25. And I think that some people are seeing that 125%, and immediately that triggers this Ponzi reflex. And they're saying, well, how can they come up with this extra amount? And the reason how that happens is because we're actually selling more services than just the ad shares themselves. And that's where we're able to come up with that 125% is because of those other services, with the forum, and I'm sure that there's going to be even more ideas that are coming into the future. And one thing just to share with you all as well is that as we grow, instead of raising the price of advertising per day or week or month, what I would actually do is switch over to a pay-per-click advertising model, which will reduce the price for the advertisers because they'll be only having to pay for the clicks that they get, and it'll actually increase the revenues because more advertisers will want to tap into this service. And that's kind of the vision that I see with AdHitProfits moving forward, is moving into a model more like that and actually competing with the rates that people are paying per click anywhere else and actually delivering some better results. So the next question that's on here is kind of be specific about all of the products that generate revenue. So if you pull up the AdHitProfits website and you go to how it works, it's pretty specific where the revenues are coming from, but I'll just read those for you just to make sure that if anyone's not clear, that the revenues are coming from the purchase of listings and website traffic. That's the $45 purchase. Now, as you know, when you purchase this, that actually places a listing into our directory, which already is cost savings over some of the listings that you might purchase on a website with lesser traffic coming to it. And so that's $45, and each time that you want to see your listing appear back on the top of that directory page, then you make another $45 purchase, and that's what's called as a bump, because you're bumping your listing back to the top of the directory page. And you're also getting an additional 1,000 visitors to your website from other members who are proven buyers. And that's one of the additional benefits of buying the ad service, is you actually do receive proven buyers to your website. Now, in addition to this service that we're splitting this among the profit shares, there is also the solo ad email marketing, which isn't used very much, and that's not a problem because we have a lot of other services as well, like the 728 by 90 leaderboard ads. We're seeing an increase in those because of the increase of testimonials that are out there in the forums and leaders that are trying them out and saying, oh my gosh, this works phenomenally great, and we're going to do that again, and we're seeing some of these people buying them actually 2-3 weeks in a row. So that's already been impressive there. The 125 by 125 banner ads, those are sold separately as well, and as you're looking at the website, you're going to see quite a number of them in there. Now that we've increased the pricing to the $12 a day, because of the high amounts of traffic that are coming in and the high amount of clicks that those ads are actually getting, we are seeing a few open spaces showing up. So you're welcome to purchase that and let us know of the results that you have from those ads. The 468 by 60 ads, those are the ads that are showing up when you're clicking an ad and it opens up in a new window and there's a frame with a countdown timer. There's a banner on that frame right next to that countdown timer. And that's actually kind of a prime position to place any kind of banner because there's a lot of eyeballs that are looking at that countdown timer. And so having that banner there, your banner is definitely going to be seen. As far as then account conveniences, there's the vacation mode. So that's $25. And that gives you a week where you don't have to click on ads and you'll receive your split in profits without having to log in and click every 24 hours. And then there's also the share auto repurchase, which is $1 for every share that is purchased with the auto repurchase. And how that works is you decide at what level your account reaches before it repurchases. So you can have it set to repurchase at $46 and it'll automatically purchase one share for you anytime that it reaches $46. And then there's any number of combinations. I mean, you can have, if it reaches 300, purchase 2, whatever it is that you want to plug in there. That's what you can do. Now with that auto repurchase, it does process every hour on the 45-minute mark. So if you're seeing that it doesn't work, just wait until the next hour on the 45-minute mark, and then you'll see that it should be processing through just fine. And if you've been using that and it's not working at the 45, let me know and we'll make sure we get that up and running for you. And then next, another additional stream of revenue is Easy Bonds. This is something that I didn't realize, but first of all, the whole reason why I brought on Easy Bonds is because of this, in addition to the high praise people have been saying about Easy Bonds before I even introduced it to the site. I had a number of people requesting that I introduce that processor as an option. And I've also had Easy Bonds themselves directly contact me and say, hey, we see that you're a growing business and we would love you to use our processor. And as I was kind of bouncing this off of people who have used it before, they've said, yes, we love that processor, we want you to use it. And what makes Easy Bonds so great for our shared model is that they actually share the transaction fees back with the merchant. So as you're paying like a $2 transaction fee, 25 cents of that comes to me. And what I actually do with that is it tacks straight into the revenue share pool and adds 25 cents to any purchase that comes into the system and 25 cents to any payment that goes out of the system directly into the revenue share pool. So hopefully we can get a whole lot more people using Easy Bonds because that will increase the amount that we share from the purchases that are already being made. Easy Bonds has a lower fee structure, especially if you're paying or withdrawing a larger amount. Because it's just a flat $2 fee rather than $3, $4, $5, or $36, or however much the fee would be, depending on a percentage scale through Payza or Solid Trust Pay. So that answers that question, kind of where does the revenue come from? Let me get the questions pulled back up here. So what's my background? What's my experience? What other companies do I run and how long do they run for, et cetera, et cetera. So kind of my background is I was in customer service for 10 plus years. Going from working in customer service for a multi-level marketing company called Oasis Wellness. I worked for customer service for Quest, telephone service, T-Mobile, Select Health, which is a health insurance company, and I can't remember any others right now, but the spans of the amount of time that I was in customer service for these companies stretches over 10 years. And so the main reason why I switched over to wanting to work online is because in 2008 I was going through a divorce, and I was actually then a single father of my son, Taylor, and he was 3. He was in daycare, and he was getting sick. So I'd have to leave work to take care of him. And I guess there was one day I was at home, I was realizing, shoot, I'm calling out of work a lot. My work at the time was saying, Charles, we love you. but you can't be missing this kind of work. You know, once or twice within a 3-month period was just too much for my employer. And so I was realizing I got to come up with another option here. And so that's where working from home started to become something I started to focus and learn and develop a lot of knowledge about. So that was back in 2008. 2 years later, I started my own pay-to-click websites. My first one was TVI PTC. It's still online, still paying. It's actually paying instantly and has been paying instantly for quite some time. Some background there, if you haven't seen my other videos that might be floating out there, interviews or anything like that, is that website along with 5 other pay-to-click websites had been paying instantly, having no problems, and then in May of 2011, my websites were hit with a large amount of fraudulent payments coming through from people from other countries using United States PayPal accounts, and not just their accounts, but their credit cards on those accounts. And so what had happened was those people, instead of opening up disputes through PayPal to try to get their money back, they went to their credit card company and it opened a chargeback. And so what that did was raise my chargeback ratio on my account to being 1.6%, or was it 1.5, 1.4, something like that. It was very small percentage-wise, but because of the amount that was coming through at that time, PayPal said that they were no longer going to do business with me on those websites, and so I could no longer accept PayPal. Now, on my websites, I continually paid instantly even after that. And the reason why I kind of brag about that is because a lot of other pay-to-click websites, when they lose PayPal, they crash, they burn, they go offline like within months. One of those that happened to that most recently was PTC Box. I don't know if you're involved in the PTC industry at all, but the pay-to-click industry, PTC Box was a big thing. And when they lost PayPal, they crumbled to the ground and they were gone, and it's not there anymore. So for my websites to stay online and paying even after PayPal just shows that I had a really good strategy with my pay-to-click websites. And what happened after that then was in October of that year, AlertPay also lost their credit card processing. And so with the 2 major processors being used, PayPal and AlertPay, not having really either one of them, my websites became a ship without water, really. I mean, I didn't have any kind of streams of revenue coming into it, and I was trying to offer new payment processors, and at the time, Solid Trust Pay wasn't very used, very widely, at least not at the same level as it is today, that's for sure. And so it was very difficult to try to regain any kind of revenues on that. Not to mention, I had a lot of additional streams of revenue because I was promoting other multi-level marketing opportunities at the time in other AlertPay-based programs. So I was actually losing quite a lot of different streams of revenue all at once. And so by December, there were some pending payouts that were going on that website. And within 6 months, I had it all caught up. Actually, by March, everything was caught up, and then the word came out there in the forums, "Ooh, he's caught up," and so everyone bum rushed my site again and requested payments out to them. And by June, I was completely caught up, and since June of last year, there's been no trouble, no problems whatsoever with my pay-to-click website. So that's where my background is online. They've been online and paying for over 3 years. And everyone who has requested payment has received their payment. So I just kind of feel like that's where my background is, and that kind of hopefully also drives home one part of my character, is that when I face a problem, I don't turn and run. I will face it, find the solution, and move forward and keep moving years into the future. So with AdHitProfits, my goal is really to be here more than just a couple of months like some of these other programs out there. My true goal with AdHitProfits is for this to remain online for years to come. Let's see. Kind of simple intro on what AdHitProfits is kind of the next question there on this sheet. And what I'm finding is that this is very simple and easy to understand for a lot of people. But there are some people that, because it's so simple, they're wondering if maybe they're missing something. But really how it works is when you purchase a $45 listing, you set up your listing, It shows up on the front page of our website, not the front page, but on the directory page, the very top listing. And then they click 10 ads, and then they start to receive a split of revenue every 30 minutes, except for today until we get that all fixed up. But every 30 minutes, any sale that comes in through the system is now shared and dispersed with all of the members. There's no referring required to receive of revenue shares. But of course, by referring, you get a 10% commission on all of your referrals, purchases and repurchases, whether they're buying the services or just another ad revenue share. And we're seeing some of these people that, one example, her name is Joyce, and I don't know if she's in here, but she was really excited at first because she was getting all these sign-ups. There's about 200 sign-ups that she had first promoting this the very first day, and then she was feeling disappointed because only one out of all of her sign-ups decided to take any action. And then her disappointment actually turned into excitement because even just with one referral who was purchasing and repurchasing, she actually was able to make quite a lot of money. And not just from those commissions, of course, but through her own purchasing and repurchasing her own self, and the money that she was making from the revenue shares. So what she was recognizing is even with just one referral, the amount of money that she was making was far exceeding anything that she's ever been in before. And so if you haven't yet gotten any referrals, that can certainly help your income quite a bit. So that's really how it works, is you click the 10 ads and you receive the split in revenue, and then we have those services that are available, and then your positions max out at $56.25. So that's 125%. And some people wonder, well, is that 100%, 125%? So I get my $55. No, it's just the $56.25. Once when you reach that, your position is maxed out. It's actually kind of a fun thing when I get that support ticket when someone asks me, why isn't my account earning? And I pull up their account and I see, oh, they had 4 positions and all of them are maxed out. And that's why you're not earning anymore. Get some more shares, if you want to keep earning from the revenue share. So that kind of is just a rundown on how the program works. Let's see. So this question says, also tell them, let's see, how does this differ from Banner Broker or any of these other opportunities that tell you that there's some kind of back end or whatever? One of the things that I guess this might be talking about is with Banner Broker, people are selling banner space, but they're not really sure where their banners are being displayed. That's one of the great things about AdHitProfits is the banners, there's this transparency. It's very transparent. You can see exactly where the banners are being displayed. And I guess I didn't need to mention Banners Broker, but that's just an example that there's a lot of programs out there that it's not too clear on where the revenues are coming from. And you might be told from one program or another that they're sustaining the program through Forex trades or something like that. I'm not bragging or claiming any kind of thing like that, because I believe that a lot of those types of programs are probably not backing up any of their revenues with any kind of Forex trades. I think they're really just pulling in new money and trying to pay out from the interest that's being earned on those accounts with the new money coming in. And again, with AdHitProfits, there's no interest that's being earned. It is straight revenue sharing, and that's why the fluctuations can happen day to day with the amount that you receive through the revenue share, and that's what makes this something that is stable. It's self-sustained through actual sales that are coming in. So I've also been asked to touch upon why advertise on AdHitProfits, and it really is quite simple, and it's because we have such a large number of targeted visitors for money-making opportunities coming to the website every single day. So as these banners are coming up first on all of these visitors, especially the 728 by 90, that's straight smack dab in the middle. Even if they never sign up or log in, that advertisement is right there in their face. And when people log in, the most frequently looked at area is the earnings, because every 30 minutes it usually is updating. And so people are in their back office refreshing and looking and seeing what's happened in this last 30-minute interval. And people are reporting how addictive that is, and that as you know, that's probably one of the biggest concerns that people have is, you know, if there's ever a problem with the site, is how do I get my fix? I need to see this. I need to get into the back office. I need to refresh. I need to see this. Because of that, that's actually where the 728 by 90 banner also displays right there. And so there's a large amount of eyeballs that are right there looking at those banners. And so that not only creates revenue that we share with everyone, but it also, for the advertiser, generates leads and conversions into new businesses for them. So it's a symbiotic relationship, as it really does benefit both sides a lot. Let's see what else this says. Now, how about I pause here for just a second and find out what questions that anybody has.
Charles, could I ask you a question?
Sure, go ahead.
I just wanted to point out that if you could please explain as far as the form that you're getting ready to have, for instance, the other forums out there that business owners own and all the advertising that's done on those forums that the business owners collect themselves 100%, and what kind of benefit the forum will do for us as far as a different avenue of revenue.
Absolutely. I'm glad that you're bringing that up, because it's something that I really am, you know, I'd love to touch on this, because basically, if you're familiar with online marketing at all, or familiar with this industry as far as where to go to find out information, you might go to Talk Gold, Moneymaker Group, you might check out a few monitor sites. Now, if you look at these monitor sites, what you're seeing are listings that people are paying like $350 for a month listing, or $200 for a week, or whatever it is. And you're looking at the banner pricing that are on these websites. They're on their forums, they're on their monitor sites, and what's going on with those is all of that money is going straight to the admin, going straight to the owner of that website. And you can see there's a lot of businesses that are paying for prime banner space, whether that be under the first topic, or under the first this, or off to the side, or on the top middle, or those types of things. We're going to have that same type of advertising structure showing up inside of our forum, so that when people are in our forum, they're going to see something that's very familiar to them, I believe, that it's actually in other forums throughout the industry. And the same types of pricing, but actually we are offering lower pricing. So what I really expect is that as we have the lower pricing, the higher Alexa ranking, and the benefit of sharing that revenue with others, that's actually going to increase sales quite a bit as we introduce that forum. So again, I mean, just imagine if you were joining one of these monitor sites, you signed up for their newsletter, and by purchasing a directory listing, it qualifies you to receive and a share of all of their revenue by clicking on 10 of their ads. That's exactly what AdHitProfits is giving you the ability to share in all of the profits and all of the sales that are generated on those sites. And just like there's people who, I mean, there's no question that Moneymaker Group is going to stay online probably for years to come. Talk Gold or Roll Club or any number of these different groups. So many forums, you can't even name them all, but I've been going to so many of them to compare pricing, and all of them really have some really high banner advertising pricing. So the prices that we have offered on AdHitProfits, especially in comparison with our Alexa ranking, are so low in comparison. So that's where I kind of see that there's going to be some really good things with introducing the forum, because I think it'll introduce a higher interest among those advertisers to advertise in our forum. Does that answer the question for you, Ernie? Did you want me to clarify anything more there with that question?
I just wanted to let people know that all that income we will be sharing 100%, correct?
Right, every single sale that comes in is going to be split with everybody. Absolutely. So, I mean, the way that I look at it is popular sites, they get advertisers like the Moneymaker Group, Monitor sites, you name it. And there's a lot of targeted traffic for money-making opportunities that are coming to our site. So you bet that advertisers are going to want to place their ads in front of all of our eyeballs that are coming onto our website. So that's why I just kind of look at it is that we will split all of the profits that come in through the website. 100% of all of the sales that come in, everyone gets a piece. And so your split is placed on your account from actual purchases on the website. And so there's people that are in programs, programs that people are getting burned in, like the Hypes or various other types of things that are placing money on an account based upon some kind of percentage per day. And these sorts of programs are mainly paying people from new payments coming into the system your existing earnings. And these are the sorts of programs that the government shuts down. And that's why there's also delays if the government doesn't shut them down, is because eventually they run out of all of the funds that can cover all of those new investments. Because it'd be very similar if all that we sold was the directory listings and we didn't sell anything else, and we were simply splitting shares and splitting more shares, splitting more shares. It would actually become less and less that can be spread around. But because we have additional services beyond just the shares, then that's where we can actually say this can remain stable and sustained long term, long into the future for years to come. And so that kind of just plays right into the point that AdHitProfits pays those new earnings from new payments. So really the real difference between our program as the other is that we're never going to have any delays on payouts ever, because of how it's built and how it's set up. If I could place an explanation if something is suspended. Okay, so Cheryl, with these directory listings, I've been actually receiving a lot of feedback from people when they come to our website and they say, your website looks like crap. And I'm like, what do you mean? And they're like, well, when I go to the directory page, there's all these broken images everywhere. And I'm like, well, you're absolutely right. There's a lot of these people that are setting up advertisements. They really don't know how yet to set up a proper advertisement. And so I don't really know how to communicate it any better, but when it's just a URL, it's asking for the image, so that's the banner image. And in most opportunities that you're in, if you're going to promote their opportunity, they're giving you the banner URL as well as your referral link. So when you're setting up the directory listing, you're only going to want to put in the actual URL for the banner, not the banner code. And that's been kind of the common mistake, is people just put in the whole entire code in both spaces because they just chunk it all in there. They don't know what to do with it. To avoid that, inside of the actual banner code, it actually says like image, so that's img source src equals. That's going to be your image URL, if that helps. Can we use AdHitProfits for advertising like an adult friend finder? I wouldn't say adult friend finder, maybe a dating site. I've seen some of that on there. Something that's family friendly, something that's more an adult site really shouldn't belong on AdHitProfits. My goal with AdHitProfits is more to target other money making opportunities out there, to give people a chance to see what's out there, to gain some leads and build stronger businesses. Because this is, I remember when I first came online back in 2008, joining my very first multi-level marketing opportunity, and I remember the first problem that I had was, who in the world do I reach out to? Who do I invite to join my opportunity? And I didn't want to talk to my family and friends. I knew that they were happy in their careers, they were happy in what they were doing, and they were not looking to start a new business, and whatever it was that I was promoting, they might not even be interested in the product or service. So what AdHitProfits is really a targeted place for you to grow any other money making opportunity out there without having to bug family or friends. And not only is it a great place for you to build anything else that you're involved, but it's also a great place to have some fun and make some money as well through the revenue sharing and through referring and bringing in even more people to help increase the value of the advertising and help bring in more potential leads for our advertisers, each one of you who is trying to build anything out there, just helping increase everything. And so it just really becomes a people helping people type of a situation. And you're absolutely right, Candice. The banner image is going to, or the URL is going to end in the JPEG or GIF, PNG, something that's an image. If it's a .com or with your referral link, then it's not going to show up. And that's another common mistake, is people placing referral links in where they need to be placing an image. And so if you do have a suspended listing, go ahead and contact support after you get it updated. And the great thing about the listing is you can actually see a preview of your banner. So if you've submitted your listing and your banner is not being displayed in that window, go back ahead and go in and click that edit button and correct it. Figure out what's wrong. And if you need some help to figure out what's wrong, there are some videos like Ernie's been posting in our Facebook group or in our Skype groups, and I think maybe even in this group as well. But simply, if the image isn't displaying, then I'll want to remove it from the directory, just to make sure that our website looks as presentable as possible to prospects and to your referrals coming to AdHitProfits, because it kind of does look bad. The better that we make our website look to our visitors, the better results everyone has all around. Now let me just go back to these questions and see if there's any others that I haven't yet touched upon by any of the information that's being discussed today here. And while I'm doing that, if you want to place a question in the window, I'll make sure to address it. All right, so one of the questions that is in here is, why do I need you to pay for the services if I'm splitting the profits from the purchases of other services? And I think it really just plays into a point where you gotta be a part of the business if you're going to benefit from the business. And the way to buy into that business or be a part of that business is to purchase a share. It's a common practice throughout not only in our industry, but also in the corporate world, where there's joint ventures where people purchase shares and they share in the growth of the business. So I guess in a lot of ways I don't need you to make those purchases, but I really see it as something that hopefully people that are getting involved see it as it being beneficial to them, especially as they test out those services with their lead capture pages and actually see what it is that can actually benefit for them. Why am I not satisfied in just finding customers who I sell space to? And the way I look at it is, I could have just released another moneymaker for him if I wanted to and not split anything with anybody else. But why not share? You know, I think that actually does increase in the growth and actually helps us stand out even more in the industry. And that's actually something that's already happened. We've surpassed the other moneymaker group Alexa ranking. So I think that having this built into the model actually does increase its popularity. I also, when I was in one of my entrepreneurship classes, we were actually recommended that no matter what business that we start, that we have within our business model a way of giving money to others. And they were explaining, you know, the example that was going on in my class was this shoe company. And at first, the shoe company was struggling, but then when they built in within their model to donate shoes to third world countries, they actually watched their business expand and grow, and not just their business expand and grow, but their satisfaction in what they were doing also expand and grow, because they were seeing that they were making a great difference and a great impact in the world. So that's what I look at with AdHitProfits is, you know, especially with this video that was playing before the webinar began, is seeing the lives that are being touched, seeing the people's things that are, the way that it's impacting other people. Because this isn't just about me and me making money for my own son and my own life. This is something that can be a vehicle for anyone else out there that wants to use it to benefit and prosper their own lives, to grow their own businesses and make some real money online. And that's kind of the way I look at it is, how can I help people? And how do I make sure that everything can work for everybody that gets involved, not just for me, not just benefiting me, but everyone that's involved. And it looks like there's a number of additional questions, and I know that we've already taken up quite some time, and I think that what we'll want to do is probably just answer a lot of these other questions in another webinar. But before we close this particular webinar, I want to reiterate that AdHitProfits is something that it's my child in a lot of ways. You know, where I came up with it, I grew it, and I'm promoting it strong. And I know that each and every one of you who has been growing this has been very much, every bit is involved in calling this your own child as well. This is your program. This is not just mine. And I really appreciate each and every one of you who has made AdHitProfits your business. And I've had some people actually submit support tickets just to say, I am AdHitProfits. And it actually kind of rings to me. I went and saw Iron Man 3 with my son just this last couple of weekends ago. And, you know, there's that clip where it's like, I am Iron Man. You know, and just hearing people say, I am AdHitProfits, it's like, yes, you guys absolutely are. AdHitProfits is great because you guys make it great. Everything, all of the things that we have reached, and all of the, I look at it as all of the records that we have broken with AdHitProfits. It's been because of you guys. It's not just been because of me. And I'm looking at what's been going on right now. We have now 8,747 paid members, and we have paid out a total of $1,881,449. We are so close to reaching our $2 million mark in paying out, and that is phenomenal. And that is only being done because of the support and the work that each and every single one of you are doing. And I am so grateful for this opportunity to pay out that amount to each of our members in total. Now, does anyone have any questions before we go ahead and close down the webinar for the day? You know, Anthony, I feel so bad because when I sent out that email, I immediately, once I hit send, I'm like, oops, I didn't say what time the webinar is going to start. My bad. And so as soon as I realized that, I got in touch with Ernie and said, hey, Ernie, can you open up the room just in case? And he said, I already did. I've got your back, Charles. So he is amazing, Ernie. Thank you. And thank you, Pam. And thank you, Carolyn. And thank you to everyone that's in these groups that answers questions for each other. It's amazing. There's times where I wake up in the middle of the night and I'm seeing that somebody asked a question, and I'm like, okay, let me answer this for someone because I'm here. And someone else is already answering the question for someone in the Skype group, and it's just amazing. So thank you, everyone, for your support, for your teams, your groups, the Facebook groups that each of you have started, and all of the. I mean, it's just amazing the support and the communication that each of you have with all of your teams. It's amazing. Thank you, Kathy. Let me see if I can scroll up and see if there's any questions I haven't answered here. Right, the more people that join, it's not going to take any additional time for those payouts to go out. In fact, there's actually been processes built in to make things faster. So I don't know how many of you guys have been involved since the beginning, but I think that from the very beginning you probably noticed, wow, payouts are fast. But even though we've been growing, payouts have even increased in the speed. Why our profits seem to be running slowly now? I think the reason for that, John Lee, is because the amount of people purchasing advertising, although is increasing, especially with the 728 by 90 banners, we're seeing an increase of the advertising purchases. We're seeing a much more increase because of our growth in membership buying those ad revenue shares. So if we can help educate more and more advertisers and business groups out there, we can affect the speed of earnings and increase the speed of earnings by educating these businesses what services that we have available. And also thank you to Dave, Dr. Zinks, phenomenal, amazing. And I'm human, and I'm sorry if I've left out anyone who's been so helpful. I sometimes get on the mic and my mind just goes blank. So I thank you, everyone, for all of your help and support. Gerard, what's your question? I read that we may be getting a huge amount of people coming from Banners Broker. Yes, Bernard. I've actually been speaking with a number of different leaders from Banners Broker, actually, who have said that they have really large amounts of teams there. Two notable leaders, especially from the UK. One of them has been voicing his interest to fly out and meet me this upcoming week. So this is something. I had a webinar with one of these leaders earlier today. I see that there's some really great potential and growth here with AdHitProfits, that with some of these programs out there, not just Banners Broker, but what they're finding out is they made a program or an opportunity their primary source of income, and now that primary source of income is no longer paying. And so they are looking for something that's sustainable. They are looking for something that has long-term potential, not something that's going to be something like a hype or something that's going to crash within a month or two or any time down the line, but something that's actually splitting real money with people, that has an actual valuable service that they can see a vision with, that they can see, hey, as this grows, that actually is only going to increase the value of the advertising. As you add additional things like the forum, that's only going to increase the number of sales. With having such a large number of people all becoming involved in this, that only increases the potential of what you can tap into, that kind of a community, essentially. Because when you have that kind of a community, there's just, the sky's the limit of how you can harness that for both the advertisers to sell to this community, as well as for what we can offer for services and benefits to this community that can increase the revenues, so that this is something that they can see as being, wow, we want to grow with you. We want to come on board with you, and we want something that's going to work for us, not just to generate a few dollars for a couple of months, but something that can really last straight into the future. So that's where I look at with AdHitProfits, and why it's starting to catch some attention for people, not just in Banner Broker, but other opportunities out there. But it's a vision that people are starting to catch hold of, that this is something that beats out these high yield investment plans that people have really lost a lot of money in. If somebody joined under somebody else and they've already paid, then they can't change their sponsor. But what some people have recognized is they can sign up under another sponsor and then use their funds from, their earnings from their primary or their first account, and use those earnings to purchase, PIF their own way into their new account under a sponsor who is more supportive. So if you're a sponsor of a lot of people and you are not reaching out to them and you don't want to lose them as your referrals, I would definitely recommend that you help out your people so that they don't just join under somebody else who they see as being a more strong sponsor. Somebody asked, when will I be posting the stats on the main page? That's something that I've been toying around with, exactly where I want to put those statistics, because there's already a lot of information on there, and with adding a forum onto the main page, it kind of cramps up what's all going to be available. And so there's a part of me that wants to kind of maybe display that information on the recent payment tab. But then I also have been hearing from some people that that might cross some legal line, where maybe it might make it so that we might catch the government's attention, and maybe I would be breaking some kind of law. So I've been doing a lot more research into that concern, because I don't want this to be shut down for any reason. I want this to remain online for years and years to come, years and years. Beyond that, I mean, I think that there's a lot of potential for this program, and it's just in its infancy. Is there plans of testing ads for being frame breakers? There is actually a number of different programs that do that, and I actually have been testing some of them. And unfortunately, some of them are not 100% accurate, meaning they present false positives. And I think that some of the people that are promoting AdHitProfits on other safe lists or traffic exchanges, as they're testing out their AdHitProfits link, they're actually now getting this false positive of having too many redirects. And so one of the problems on having something like that, it would cause a lot of additional problems. So I don't know. Hopefully, there's a part of me that just wishes that people would just be honest and not put frame breakers or bad links into the system. But there is some. I am actually really looking at adding an additional system. I just haven't found one that can really be used very well or maybe perfected. So I've been actually focused more in building this forum for the last week or so. So I believe that when the forum is built and added to the site, then we can start looking into some other things like adding a check system to make sure that good links are in there. And I guess Gerard's question is, when am I coming to visit Belize? That's actually something that I've been kind of toying around with the last few days, is having live events and somebody said, hey Charles, you should go on tour. And I thought, hey, that would actually be a really great benefit to people all over the world. As maybe their prospects wouldn't come to a webinar, but maybe they would be able to bring them to a live event where they could meet me and hear me and know what the program's all about. Hear from some of our top sponsors, maybe hear from some of our leaders, and some people, maybe some testimonials of what has been going on for them ever since they've gotten involved with AdHitProfits. Not just with the services that they're buying, but also the income that they're making and what they see as their vision for AdHitProfits. Going on a tour like that is something that I see as something potential going into the future. As summer is approaching, my son will be getting out of school. Having those types of live events can become more of a possibility this summer. So I don't know if those would happen this summer, but definitely having a convention of some sort is something that I've had on my mind as a possibility, especially because of the additional not only exposure and strength and how that really does present a big step forward of saying this is who I am, and the confidence there and the confidence it can bring to people, but also it would be something is an additional revenue stream. I see that as something that would create a giant bump. Like, for example, if I was to say everyone who comes to this event, it's going to cost $75, then everyone who comes to the event, not only would there be some valuable information presented, training information, real actionable training, not like some of the training that you see from some of these other events that you might have gone to, that there's not any real actionable items that you can actually take away from that and say, that's what I can put right straight into my business and actually grow my income. That's what I would kind of look at is having the event where there would be some kind of expense to it, and then from those profits split that then with everybody. So that's where the whole idea of having a live event would then hit a whole lot of different things, not only splitting those profits and those revenues with everyone, but increase the value and exposure to the business, as well as help increase your ability to invite your family and friends, if you want to invite your family and friends into something like this, to help your own community locally get involved in this. So it can really help the growth of the business altogether. I'm going to scroll up and see if I can see any other questions. Can we use Yahoo email address instead of Gmail? I personally use Yahoo. The website seems to have no problem getting emails to me. So hopefully everyone else that uses Yahoo has no problems as well. Let's see what else is up here. Aside from revenue share, what other source of income do you intend to include to diversify? Already, as mentioned throughout this webinar, there are already a number of different streams of revenue services offered. By offering the forum, that will additionally increase more streams of revenue. By offering, paid advertising for people who want to start new topics, stickies, those types of things, there's going to be additional streams of revenue coming in through those types of things. Well, thank you, Gerhard. I really appreciate that. I really appreciate that. There's a number of leaders throughout the world that I'm looking at that I would love to cooperate with them and have a convention, not only to invite their whole team or anyone else, but the communities, and have that be something that is promoted for people to come and be a part of. You fix your banner. How do you get it unsuspended? Cheryl, a couple of ways to do that is to reach me on Skype or submitting a support ticket, and I can review. And once when I see that the banner is showing correctly, then I can go ahead and unsuspend it. The main reason why it's not automatic right now is because people would just resubmit, and then it would need to be resuspended. And I know that there was one person in particular. He had used a pornography site, and it was suspended, and then he changed it to another pornography site. So if he was to have had it restore, then that would have actually been placing a site on rotation that I wouldn't want on there. So that's the main reason why, is when it's updated, then I can go ahead and review, and it doesn't take long, especially since I'm on Skype pretty much all day, every day. And support tickets have been taking usually less than 24 hours to answer. Sometimes, depending on the time of day or which day it is, within minutes I can get to those. Will there be option to advertise more than one program with our traffic credits? Anthony, with the main reason for the site, I mean, there's a number of reasons, of course, but since I am trying to share revenue, I want to expand people's desire to purchase additional. Like, if there's only one listing on purpose, because now if you want to advertise more than one opportunity, then you can start to tap into the other services that are split with everybody. I referred a friend and had a problem verifying his email after clicking on the link. If you can connect with me after this, Israel, I can help make sure they can get their account set up. And I don't know, sometimes what can happen if there's any kind of firewall setting, sometimes that link with that code doesn't save into the browser to confirm that person is verifying their email. Is there a Skype room? There's actually right now 5 Skype rooms. And so there's a lot of attendees here that are in one of those 5 Skype rooms. So when it comes to the additional banner sizes as well, Anthony, that just goes into what we want to do, is we want to sell the additional services so that we can split those with everybody. So if I offered so much that goes along with the revenue shares, then we would just have, that can actually make it so that we would have too many shares in the system. We want to have more revenue so that we can have it shared with all of the different shares that are available and open in the system. I'm just going to scroll up and see if I might have missed any questions. And just in closing here, I want to thank you again for all of your patience, all of your support. As AdHitProfits, we're a growing company. One of the things I've been referencing throughout the growth is other companies and their growth and how they handle things. And as any company seems to grow, they kind of have some growing pains within the first few months as they're doing exactly what we're doing. Sorry, my voice got a crack there. As we're doing exactly what we're doing, is optimizing the database, optimizing the script, finding out what's working, finding out what's not, and kind of tweaking things and making sure that things are working. And so as we're seeing this type of growth, thank you for all of your patience through any of the growing pains that you've seen as we've installed this the additional security certificates, and we were down for a day or two. And as we've had various different things that have caused any kind of problems for anybody, thank you for reporting the problems that you've had and allowing me the opportunity to fix those problems for you. And thank you so much for your connection. And people have been thanking me for being so open and transparent with them. Thank you all as well for being so open and transparent with me, what people's concerns are, what people want to know, so I can address those questions, because I want to make sure to address and answer all of those questions and be as transparent as I possibly can, because that's where I feel is going to be beneficial not only for me in the business, but all of you who are all involved. The more this works for me and for you, the better it works for everybody. And the more that it works for everybody, the more happy I am, because, I mean, seeing those videos of how this is impacting people, and as I go into Facebook groups and seeing the people that are saying, this is how it's impacted me. I get messages all the time from Facebook, people saying, thank you. This is what this has happened, and this is how this has strengthened my life and my family, and thank you. And all I can say is, no, thank you, because if you guys weren't all involved, then none of this would be going on. So thank you all for everything. All right, it looks like without any further ado, I'll go ahead and turn any additional comments over to Ernie or Pam or anyone else who might want to close out the rest of the meeting.
All right, Charles, I think you speaking for an hour and 21 minutes is awesome, and that's all we need for this webinar. Obviously, we'll have another one on Thursday for any further questions for people. My hat's off to you, Charles. Thank you very much for this fantastic webinar and keeping everybody up to date to exactly everything that's going on with AdHitProfits. And everyone here, thank you for your support, for being here. Have a great weekend. Enjoy the holiday, everybody. Till next time, good night.